Real bosses move in silence. You don't gotta broadcast every step, every grind, every late night. Let your results do the talking. Because when the world finally hears the noise of your success, it'll be so loud they can't ignore it. Every vision starts out small, like a seed buried deep in the soil where no one can see it. In those early stages, it is fragile, vulnerable, and easily destroyed by doubt, negativity, or careless words. Too often people make the mistake of speaking on their dreams too soon, telling everybody what they are about to do, what they are planning, how big their ideas are. The problem is that the moment you start sharing it with the world before it has roots, you give others access to step on it. Some will do it out of jealousy, some out of ignorance, and some simply because they do not understand what you see. That is why silence becomes a shield. Protecting your vision in silence is like protecting a flame in the wind. You cover it, you guard it, and you let it gather strength until it burns strong enough to light up the sky. Silence also keeps you in control of your process. When you tell people every move you are making, you hand them pieces of your power. They begin to expect updates, they begin to measure your progress, and suddenly you find yourself moving not for the sake of your growth, but to meet the opinions of others. The truth is that you do not need their validation. Every great thing built in this world started out invisible, hidden in the grind, hidden in the long nights, hidden in the hours when nobody was watching. Protecting your vision means allowing yourself the freedom to fail quietly, to learn privately, and to adjust without the judgment of a crowd. When you stay silent, the mistakes you make become lessons instead of gossip, and the adjustments you take become growth instead of public entertainment. When you understand the value of silence, you understand the value of energy. Energy is the real currency of the hustle. Time is limited, but energy is even more precious because it decides what you can create within that time. Most people burn it up in conversations that don't matter, arguments that don't build, or in explaining themselves to people who will never see the picture. Every time you try to convince someone of your dream, you give away a portion of the energy that was supposed to be invested into making that dream real. Protecting your energy means realizing you don't have to respond to every doubt. You don't have to answer every question. You don't have to debate your future with people who can't even control their present. When you place energy where it belongs, you start to see a different rhythm in your grind. That energy fuels your creativity, sharpens your focus, and strengthens your discipline. Instead of talking about building, you are actually building. Instead of explaining your vision, you are executing it. Energy is like water for your seed. Every drop matters. Waste it in the wrong place and you starve your own growth. Direct it into your grind, and you see life rise out of the ground where once there was nothing. Most people don't fail because they lack the dream, they fail because they leak energy. They talk too much about what they're about to do and drain the fire out of it. They spend time defending themselves against people who will never understand, and that takes the spirit away from the work. Imagine if you took all the energy you spent explaining, arguing, or trying to be understood and redirected it fully into your craft. Imagine the progress you would see. That is why silence and energy go hand in hand. When you stay quiet, you preserve your power. When you preserve your power, you put it into motion. And motion backed by pure undiluted energy is unstoppable. The beauty of this approach is that while others are busy talking, you are busy creating. While others are busy debating, you are busy planning. While others are trying to be seen, you are building in the shadows. That patience, that focus, and that discipline is what allows you to stand out when the time is right. Nobody sees the hours you put in, nobody sees the sacrifices, nobody sees the silent battles. They only see the results when they finally surface. But by then the seed has already broken through the soil, the roots have already spread deep, and the vision has already become too strong to be destroyed. When you learn to protect your vision in silence and guard your energy with purpose, you start moving different. You stop seeking approval and you start seeking mastery. You stop wasting words and you start stacking results. The people who doubted you will eventually see what you built, but by then it will be too late for their opinions to matter. That is the power of staying silent until your success makes the noise. The moment you stop talking and start moving, something shifts inside you. Focus has a way of separating you from the noise of the crowd. Most people are stuck in the cycle of saying what they are gonna do. They announce their plans, they speak of their future moves, and they get caught up in the excitement of just telling the story. But when the excitement fades, there is no follow-through. The difference is found in those who lock in, those who choose to let action speak louder than any word. Focus builds momentum, and momentum is what pushes you forward when motivation runs out. You can't buy momentum, you can't fake it. You can only create it by staying consistent in your effort. Every time you show up, every time you put in work without waiting for applause, you are adding weight to the snowball that will eventually roll on its own. The truth about focus is that it forces you to prioritize. You cannot move in every direction at once and expect progress. Distraction is the enemy of momentum because it scatters your attention into 100 small pieces that never add up to anything. When you are focused, you channel all of that energy into one lane, one goal, one vision. That kind of direction makes your work compound over time. Small actions begin to stack into bigger results, and the consistency begins to create opportunities you would never have seen if you kept stopping to explain or to seek approval. Focus is not about intensity for a short time. It is about persistence over the long run. A person who stays steady on the path will outlast the one who runs fast for a moment but keeps stopping to talk. Momentum is a force that multiplies itself. Once you get it moving, it pushes you even when you feel tired. But momentum is fragile in its early stages, just like a vision. The easiest way to kill it is by stopping too often to look around, to explain, or to worry about who is watching. Staying focused protects your momentum by giving you tunnel vision. You stop worrying about the outside world and you start seeing only the steps in front of you. When you hit obstacles, focus helps you adapt without losing stride. Without focus, obstacles turn into excuses, but with focus they become lessons that keep the motion alive. The beauty of momentum is that it builds confidence. The more you stay consistent, the more you start to believe in your own ability. You see progress stacking, you feel yourself getting stronger, and that belief creates even more momentum. People around you may not understand, they may not see why you are so locked in. But when the results start to show, they will realize you are building something unstoppable. Focus creates that power. It is the quiet commitment to action that eventually speaks louder than 1,000 words. At the same time, silence plays another role in your journey by blocking distractions. Every time you speak on a move before it is ready, you invite opinions, doubts, and criticism. Human beings naturally want to give advice, to share their perspective, and often to project their fears onto you. They do not always do it out of hate. Sometimes it comes from love, but either way it interrupts your rhythm. When you keep quiet, you close the door to that interference. Silence gives you the freedom to experiment without pressure, to learn without judgment, and to build without an audience trying to direct your steps. Distractions come in many forms. Sometimes it is people telling you what you should or should not do. Other times it is the temptation to compare your journey with someone else who seems further along. It can even be your own need for recognition, the craving to be seen as successful before the work is finished. Silence removes these traps because it forces you inward. You are no longer feeding off outside validation. You are feeding off your own discipline and your own progress. The less you speak on it, the less room there is for outside voices to influence your path. Think of silence as a filter. When you share too much, you let every voice enter your mind and it becomes harder to hear your own. The negative voices will plant doubt, the fearful voices will slow you down, and even the supportive voices can sometimes create pressure that distracts you from the actual work. But when you filter all of that out, what remains is your original vision and the clarity to pursue it. You stop reacting to outside noise and start listening to your inner drive. That is the kind of focus that breeds greatness. Silence also teaches patience. In a world where everybody wants to show their life on display, keeping quiet feels uncomfortable. But that discomfort builds discipline. It teaches you to be satisfied with unseen progress, with the kind of growth that is invisible to others but priceless to you. It helps you value the journey itself instead of the applause along the way. This patience is what keeps you grounded when challenges come. Instead of rushing to prove yourself, you trust the process and keep building in the shadows until the time is right to reveal what you have created. Distractions are dangerous because they often feel harmless. One conversation here, one explanation there, one argument on social media to defend your vision, and suddenly hours of energy are gone. But the more you practice silence, the more you notice how much you are protecting. Every time you choose not to speak, not to argue, not to announce, you are choosing to save your strength for the grind. And that choice compounds into results that eventually speak for themselves. Focus creates the engine that keeps you moving, and silence blocks the obstacles that would slow you down. Together they form a discipline that allows you to outlast and outwork anyone who is busy seeking attention instead of progress. The world will always be full of distractions, full of noise, and full of people trying to have a say in your path. But if you master the art of staying focused and staying quiet, you position yourself to build momentum that no one can stop and to protect your growth from the forces that would otherwise pull it apart. Talk fades away, but results leave an imprint that can never be erased. Words are light, they disappear once spoken, but work done with consistency and purpose becomes evidence that cannot be denied. There is a reason why people respect achievements more than promises. A promise might sound good, it might create excitement for a moment, but once the moment passes, there is nothing left to hold on to. Results are permanent, they are the physical proof of sacrifice, dedication, and vision. When you allow your work to speak louder than your words, you stop wasting time trying to convince people of who you are and what you are capable of. You give them the undeniable reality of progress, and reality is always stronger than imagination. When people witness results, they cannot argue against them. You can tell someone about your discipline, but when they see the body you built from years in the gym, The words are no longer needed. You can tell people about your entrepreneurial spirit, but when they see the business you built from scratch, they understand without you explaining. Letting your work speak is the purest way of expressing yourself because it bypasses debate and cuts directly to truth. People may try to challenge your ideas, they may doubt your plans, but they cannot deny what is right in front of them. And the beauty of this principle is that the louder your results become, the less you have to say. Every second you put into talking about what you will do could have been invested in doing it. Every conversation where you try to defend your dreams could have been a step forward in bringing them alive. Talk does not move you closer, action does. That is why work that speaks for itself is so powerful. It not only silences critics but also inspires others. When people see what you have accomplished without boasting, it carries more weight than any speech you could ever deliver. Quiet progress has a way of demanding respect. It is the humility of letting your results shine instead of your words. This also builds credibility. In a world full of people who talk more than they act, the one who lets results speak is rare, and rarity is valuable. People trust results because they are evidence of follow-through. Once you create a reputation for being someone whose work is stronger than their words, doors open for you. Opportunities come your way because others know you are dependable. You do not need to sell yourself, your results do the selling. This is how leaders are created, not from loud promises but from silent execution. Along with the power of results comes the understanding that silence builds power. What you keep to yourself gives you control over your direction. Every time you announce your next move, you expose yourself to the possibility of interference. Not everyone who hears your plan wants to see it succeed. Some may try to compete with you, some may quietly work against you, and others may simply take energy from you by filling your mind with doubt. The less they know, the less they can interfere. Power is not only in what you show but in what you keep hidden. Silence creates a layer of mystery that protects your growth. When people do not know what you are working on, they cannot measure your progress. When they cannot measure your progress, they cannot compare themselves to you or create obstacles in your path. They are left guessing while you are moving. That guessing is power because it gives you freedom to adjust, to change direction, and to evolve without outside pressure. Too much exposure can make you predictable, and predictability makes you vulnerable. Silence keeps you unpredictable, and unpredictability keeps you strong. There is also strength in privacy because it allows you to control your narrative. Once you put your moves out into the world, people will interpret them in their own way. They will attach their opinions, their doubts, and even their fears to your journey. But when you keep those moves within your own circle of discipline, you decide the pace and you decide the meaning. You are not forced to live up to the expectations of others. You can take risks, make mistakes, and correct them quietly. That control is power because it means you are not performing for an audience, you are building for yourself. Silence also protects your energy from those who feed off it without giving anything back. When you share too much, you attract people who are only interested in the shine, not the grind. They want to be connected to the success, but not the sacrifice. Keeping quiet about your journey filters those people out because they cannot attach themselves to something they cannot see. This leaves you surrounded by fewer distractions and more authentic connections, which only strengthens your position. The real power of silence lies in strategy. It is not just about being quiet. It is about being intentional. Every move you don't reveal is a move that cannot be blocked. Every idea you protect is an idea that grows without interference. This creates a sense of anticipation because when you finally do reveal the result, it has the element of surprise. People did not see it coming, they did not have time to prepare for it, and that shock is part of your strength. Strategy is about timing, and silence gives you the patience to wait for the right moment to strike. Power is not loud. True power does not need to announce itself because it is evident in results, in consistency, and in presence. The loudest people are often the weakest because they are trying to convince the world of something they have not yet built. The strongest people are often the quietest because their work is already enough. Silence is not weakness, silence is control. It is the understanding that not everything needs to be spoken, not every move needs to be shared, and not every thought needs to be exposed. When you combine results that speak louder than words with the power that comes from silence, you create a force that cannot be ignored. Your work proves your value and your silence protects your vision. You no longer need to chase recognition because recognition finds you. You no longer fear interference because interference cannot reach you. This balance of action and restraint is what separates those who talk about success from those who embody it. It is not about shouting your story. It is about writing it with discipline and letting the world read it in the language of results. Patience is one of the most difficult disciplines to master because the world constantly pressures you to show results quickly. People want overnight victories, instant recognition, fast rewards, and they look at silence as weakness or failure. But what they do not understand is that patience transforms silence into a roar. While you are moving quietly, others may assume you are doing nothing. They may think you gave up, or they may underestimate the fire you are building inside. That underestimation becomes your advantage, because in the dark, unseen, you are laying foundations that cannot be destroyed. Every day you stay patient, you are stacking bricks, sharpening skills, and reinforcing your mindset. Patience is not standing still. Patience is building steadily without the need to prove yourself before the time is right. The journey is long, and it is filled with moments where silence feels heavy. You will question yourself. You will wonder if you are really making progress, and you will feel the temptation to show the world something just to get a taste of validation. But patience teaches you that real power comes from withholding that need. Every small step you take in private adds weight to your future breakthrough. The longer you hold back, the stronger the explosion when it finally comes. It is like charging energy, storing it in silence, and then releasing it all at once in the form of undeniable success. People who lack patience often reveal too soon, and by doing so they weaken the impact of their results. But those who trust the process, who allow time to season their work, end up delivering something that shakes the ground. Patience also keeps you grounded when things do not move as fast as you imagined. There will be setbacks, there will be delays, there will be seasons where nothing seems to move forward. In those times, impatience can make you abandon the path completely. But patience reminds you that the marathon is not won in one sprint, it is won by endurance. You learn to trust that the work you are putting in will eventually pay off, even if it takes longer than you planned. This trust prevents you from rushing into shortcuts that compromise your vision. Many people destroy their own potential by trying to prove themselves too early. They take half-built dreams and present them as complete, only to watch them collapse under the weight of expectations. Patience saves you from that trap. It allows your dream to grow its roots before you expose it to the storm. The beauty of patience is that it magnifies the noise when success finally arrives. The silence that once made people doubt you becomes a contrast that makes your achievement even louder. Imagine people thinking you disappeared, thinking you failed, thinking you gave up, and then suddenly you emerge with results so powerful they cannot believe it. That is the roar of patience. It is not just success, it is success multiplied by surprise. It is the sound of years of unseen work crashing into reality all at once. That kind of impact cannot be ignored, and it could never happen without patience guiding you through the quiet seasons. When that moment comes, success itself makes the loudest noise. You no longer need to defend yourself, you no longer need to explain your vision, you no longer need to prove anything. The results speak in a language everyone understands. Success silences doubt, silences hate, silences every voice that tried to discourage you. It is the one answer that cannot be argued with. People might have questioned your choices. They might have laughed at your sacrifices. They might have doubted your abilities, but success is undeniable. When it shows up, it speaks with authority, and that authority drowns out every critic. Success is also the kind of noise that spreads on its own. You do not have to promote it endlessly, because people will do it for you. They will talk about what you built, they will share your story, and they will use your journey as an example. Success echoes far beyond your own voice, reaching places your words could never reach. That is why you do not need to waste energy trying to be heard during the grind. When the results arrive, they amplify themselves louder than anything you could have shouted along the way. The noise of success is different from the noise of talk. Talk is temporary, it fades when attention shifts, but the noise of success lingers because it is backed by evidence. When you build something real, it cannot be erased by the passing of time. That is why people still speak about great leaders, innovators, and builders long after they are gone. Their success continues to make noise generation after generation because it was built on action, not on empty promises. Your own success carries that same potential if you let it grow in silence and reveal itself when it is ready. Another thing about the noise of success is that it inspires. While doubters are silenced, others are awakened. Someone watching your journey will see your results and understand that discipline, patience, and silence are powerful tools. Your success becomes a blueprint for them to follow, a signal that their own vision is possible if they move with the same focus. This is how success multiplies, not just by benefiting you, but by sparking belief in others. And none of this would happen if you spent your energy trying to talk your way into recognition instead of building your way into it. The loudest voice in the room is not the one speaking, it is the one who has already proven something worth listening to. Success commands attention in a way that words never can. It demands respect even from those who never believed in you. That respect is not given because you asked for it, it is given because you earned it. And once success starts making noise, you no longer need to chase approval. Approval comes to you, recognition comes to you, and opportunities come to you. All because you stayed patient in the silence and allowed the results to become your voice. This is why staying silent until your success makes the noise is not just advice, it is a philosophy of living. It teaches discipline, it builds strength, it protects vision, and it ensures that when the time comes, your presence cannot be ignored. Silence without patience is frustration. Patience without silence is exposure, but silence combined with patience produces noise that shakes the ground. Success built in this way does not just speak, it roars. And once it roars, there is no force strong enough to quiet it. When you look back at the entire journey, you begin to understand why silence, focus, patience, and discipline matter more than anything else. Every season of struggle, every hour of unseen work, and every sacrifice you made in private was never wasted. It was all energy being stored, energy that one day burst out as undeniable results. The lesson is clear. You don't need to tell the world who you are becoming. You just need to become it. You don't need to beg for attention. You just need to command it by what you build. Success is the voice that never lies, and once it speaks, the whole world listens. So protect your vision, guard your energy, trust the process, and remember that the silence of today is only setting up the thunder of tomorrow. Keep moving with intention, keep building with patience, and never forget that your time will come if you refuse to stop. Thank you for watching and being part of this journey. Your support means everything, and together we are running this marathon with focus and purpose. Stay locked in, stay inspired, and keep pushing toward your own victory lap.